kind of it was an action superhero story.
Yeah.
Very good one.
It was very fun.
Yeah, but it wasn't heartfelt. And then Ratatouille came out, and Cars 2. Sorry, Cars 1 came out then.
Yeah.
And Cars 1 was probably the second worst Pixar movie, the worst one being Cars 2.
Cars 2?
Which is I was surprised at Cars 2 because it was so bad I wasn't able to finish it.
I actually thought Cars 1 was satisfactory.
It was...
It met its requirement.
If Cars 1 had DreamWorks before instead of Pixar on the cover, I would have been like, okay, it was a decent.
Yeah, good movie. Yeah,
but because it's Pixar, it was just kind of.
Yeah, it was not Finding Nemo. Yeah, it was definitely not.
Although I hate people who are like really Cars, like Pixar went with Cars, like how dumb is that? I'm like, well, they went with toys and fish and monsters, and robots and everything else. So why not Cars?
Yeah,
They've done everything else.
The next thing in line.
Yeah, Cars. Yeah. I'm convinced that they could do a story about anything. Really. Yeah. Now, just Cars 2 just wasn't that funny or satisfactory, and it wasn't all that heartfelt, but it was kind of
Yeah.
But Ratatouille, that was a pretty heartfelt movie. And then WALL-E, which is one of the greatest movies ever made.
That's one I haven't seen.
And one of my favorite movies of all time. Extremely heartfelt. Up, arguably even more so. Toy Story 3, arguably even more so than Up, was more heartfelt. And then Brave came out. Brave...
I didn't watch that one. You got to tell me about that one. How did you feel about it?
Okay, I think it was Brave. Was it?
Brave was 2012.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it was Cars 2 or Brave that came out. Yeah, which one came out first? I think.
Cars 2 came out first.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Yeah, it was Cars 2. Cars 2 came out 2011. Anyway, that was an awful movie. Don't watch that. Brave. A lot of people didn't like Brave. I did. I thought Brave was a very well done Pixar movie. Was it WALL-E or Up? No. Few things are, if you get my meaning. But Brave was a very well told. I like the new take on the Disney princess story, because that's what it was essentially. Yeah. It was their Disney princess story. Very well done. I think it's a very underrated Pixar film, although I do understand why people don't like it, but it's not for everyone, but I really did enjoy it. And the Monsters University, which came out this year, and I did see.
You saw Monsters University after?
Yeah.
How was it?
It was good. I would put it, if I was to rank the worst Pixar movies to the best, it would be Cars 2, Cars 1, Bugs Life, Monsters University. Not that Monsters University is a bad movie by any stretch of the imagination, and is far removed from Bugs Life, because there's like a huge gap between Bugs Life and Monsters University. But Monsters University, in my mind, it didn't have the same heartfeltness as the first one.
Oh right, I recall this. You didn't like Bugs Life.
I don't like Bugs Life.
I did like Bugs Life.
Don't like Bugs Life.
I thought it was good. I was entertained.
Now, I haven't seen it in ages, so maybe it's just my childhood.
That's what I see. That's interesting, because that's what I thought the effect was on me. I thought it was that maybe I hadn't seen it in ages, and maybe if I went back and looked at it, it wouldn't stand the test of time.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, the guy who did Monsters University was the same guy who did, was he? No, he was a new director. It wasn't nearly as heartfelt as Monsters Inc. was, but I did like the story that they were trying to tell, because you know what Monsters University was?
What?
Monsters University was Pixar's version of. Do you remember back in like the 80s and 90s, there used to be a bunch of like college movies, or like movies where like, oh, you got the nerdy guys and are trying to fit in with the cool crowd, and then they end up going into like the kind of nerdy fraternity, and then they have a competition and they prove that like they're just as cool as everyone else.
Oh yeah,
like that kind of a movie. That's what Monsters University is. So there was a lot of jokes that I got because I'm a college student, because there's like in one scene, you see a monster like walking into school, and the monster is jittering because in each hand it has like 8 tentacles, and each tentacle has a coffee cup, and it's constantly jerking from the coffee cups. I'm like, I get that.
Yeah.
And so I liked it. It was still a really good movie. A lot better than Bugs Life. I thought a lot better than Bugs Life, but it just wasn't like a Finding Nemo or Toy Story 2. You know what I meant?
Right.
It just lacks something.
Sure.
I have noticed that in recent years, after WALL-E, Up, and Toy Story, there seemed to be they seem to be a little bit of a drop-off, which is understandable because Ratatouille was good, WALL-E was fantastic, Up was fantastic, Toy Story 3 was fantastic, Cars 2 sucked, although I'm convinced that Cars 2 was mandatory. Like, Disney was like, we made so much money off the merchandise from Cars, you need to make another one just because we need money. And they're like,
exactly,
all right.
Yeah. And it was miserably less well rated than its
and Brave and Monsters University are leagues ahead of Cars 2, but they're good, but they're not like I put Brave and Brave around the same level as The Incredibles, which is a decent movie, but I just didn't like it as much as Finding Nemo.
Sure, yeah.
And I put Monsters University slightly below that. But I do still really enjoy these movies. They're not. I just don't enjoy them as much as WALL-E because honestly, I'm not kidding when I say WALL-E is one of my favorite movies ever made. I think it's a perfect cinema experience.
I've literally have not seen a Pixar movie that I didn't enjoy to some extent.
Yeah.
Like that I wasn't glad I saw. And partly because I haven't seen Cars 2, exactly. No, that's totally what's responsible.
Yeah.
And no, Toy Story is great because Toy Story to me also, like the great thing about Toy Story is of course it's written by Joss Whedon, or at least written in part by Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
This is a whole team, of course, as is part for the course with these, I believe. But that's great because that's the Joss project that everyone forgot.
Yeah.
It was him. Everybody knows Toy Story. And then you mention people Joss Whedon, and immediately it's Buffy, Angel, Firefly, Dollhouse, the typical stuff. Avengers now.
Yeah.
And no one remembers Toy Story, that was him, and that's a real shame.
Yeah.
Because in many ways that's the most popular of his projects. At least for a long time it was, unless I'm not going by highest grossing. But in terms of like nostalgia, a lot of people have nostalgia for Buffy, but a lot of people have nostalgia for Toy Story as well.
Yeah. It's Pixar's one. I don't know. I just like Disney. Like Pixar is very comparable to Disney and DreamWorks, where Disney for a while was making hit after hit after hit because they had Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then Hercules came out, and people were like, eh. Even though I really liked Hercules, everyone was kind of like, eh, it's no Lion King. And then
sure, yeah.
And then Pocahontas came out, and everyone was like, oh god, Pocahontas, don't talk to me about Pocahontas, it's so bad. And then like Mulan came out, and everyone was like, yeah, it's all right, but it's not Lion King. And then so they, Disney had a bit of a drop off, and then they had one of the best movies they've ever made, which was Lilo and Stitch. I love that movie, but then they really dropped off again.
Yeah,
Disney was not doing well. The 2000s were not kind to Disney.
I agree.
The only good movies they've made since Lilo and Stitch, in my opinion, have been Princess and the Frog, which I really enjoyed, and Tangled, which was really good.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Wreck-It Ralph. I like Wreck-It Ralph.
Didn't see that one either.
But not I honestly would have... Like, Wreck-It Ralph to me seems like a DreamWorks movie.
Right.
Disney's following the DreamWorks formula now, which is interesting, because in the beginning, DreamWorks was following Disney. They were trying so hard to be Disney, and then DreamWorks was like, okay, we're just going to do our own thing, and then Shrek was kind of the beginning of them doing their own thing, and now Disney's like... They're making so much money. We have to copy them. I'm like, no, you don't. Just be Disney.
Well, this is what Disney does. Of course,
yeah.
This is essentially the way they run their business.
Yeah, they're a money making machine. Though.
They are. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Because they own they're the largest media mogul in the world.
They've got to have one of the biggest theme parks in the world.
No, but I mean, like they own.
Well. No, I know in terms of owning things. Yeah, no, but like seriously, the theme park is huge.
I love Disney. We'll have our own show about Disney World because I just got to gush about Disney World because I love Disney World. But
can we wait till I go to Disney World or something first?
No. But yeah, so and you know what's another thing I like about Pixar? In fact, a thing I like about animated movies over live action movies is that with animated movies, I feel like you're able to take more of a chance with ideas and premises because. For example, if I pitched you a movie and I said, all right, here's my movie. I want to do a live-action movie. It's going to be about a rat who lives in Paris and he wants to be a cook. Would you back me?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
If I said it was an animated movie, would you back me then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there we go. So I feel like as an animated movie, you have a bit more freedom in what you can do. And that's why I like Pixar, because when you look, except for the sequels, when you look at Pixar, they're all very different stories. You know what I mean? You have Toy Story. You have Bugs, a movie about bugs. You have a movie about what happens when monsters, like what happens in the world of monsters. You have a movie about, like, okay, what happens, let's do a story about fish. Let's do a story about superheroes. Let's do a story about cars. Let's do a story about rats trying to cook.
Yeah.
Let's do a story about robots falling in love. Let's do Up, which is a very hard story to, try and...
Convey.
Yeah, not convey, but, like, describe.